are not alone. If you are like me and millions of others looking for, in search of a better life, a stronger life, a more impactful life, then this is the program for you. Welcome to Abundant Living, powered by Farm Stew. And I am Pastor Pilote, and I'm with you on this journey as we are discovering God's principles to help you and me and all of us to live more abundantly and more successfully. I have with me a couple of guests. Let's introduce them, and we're going to jump right in. So first we have Ms. Joy Kaufman, and she is a nutritionist, a public health professional, a mom, and she happens to be the founder of Farm Stew International. Joy, so glad to have you with us again.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be back.
This is going to be exciting today. And we have with us all the way from Zambia, the Farm Stew coordinator there. This is Holly Mutale, and we want to welcome you for being here as well.
Thank you, Pastor.
All right. Now, we have a Bible verse today, and we're going to be talking about things like seeds and grains and different things like that today. And this verse doesn't seem like it's directly on the topic, but I want to promise the viewers that you'll see, if you stick with us, you're going to see how all of this really fits together. So I'm just planting a seed so that you will remember to stay with us, and you'll get it when we get to that part. So Romans chapter 1 verse 20 is the verse which says, "For since the creation of the world, God's invisible qualities, his eternal power and divine nature have been clearly seen, being understood from what has been made, so that people are without excuse." Wow. So we're talking about seeds, but somehow that's going to connect with the nature of God himself. I can't wait to find out. Now, we've talked in the past, in some of the other episodes, about God's principles, God's menu, if you will, what God put out on the table for humanity. And I want to just mention something, though. I notice that when I'm trying to eat healthy foods or eat healthier, it's actually a little bit harder. Maybe those foods are expensive to find sometimes, or maybe they just take more time to prepare and things like that. What do you say to that, to people that would like to have a more abundant life in terms of the way that they eat, but they find it a little bit more difficult?
How you want to comment on that?
Yes. Actually, from the observation that we've done, we find that the most healthiest food, they are cheaper, because they are cheaper and available. Basically, we're talking about seeds, because most of the food that people eat, more especially in Africa setup, it's seed. But the only challenge which is there is that most of the seed they eat is processed or refined food. So now what it means when we talked about refined food, you find that from the creation, God had created the seed. When we look at Genesis chapter 1 verse 29, God has created seeds and fruits that contain seeds inside to be food, not just to human beings, but also to animals. But now what the world is doing today, the seed has got three parts. It has got the outer layer, which is called seed coat, and then there's an inner layer, which is called endosperm, or food storage, and then there's another part which is called an embryo, where we see when the seed is germinating.
Well, now, Holly, we're going to talk about all the different parts of those in just a minute. So I'm trying to get to the idea that, or the question of, how can we make it, or is it too difficult really for people to get that really healthy kind of food sometimes? Because that kind of seed, that kind of fresh food, I guess that maybe it's expensive to transport it. I don't know why, but how can people eat more healthy if it's harder to do, if it takes more time or more expensive?
Okay, so one of the things that people can do in the previous episode, we talked about the importance of having kitchen gardens. So people, they just have to have an understanding of nutrition value of various foodstuffs. So once they identify, of which we're going to present that here, once they know which food is nutritious, they should be able to incorporate that in their gardens. So that will be, the food will be available for them and their family, not just food, but nutritious food. So there's a number, yes.
All right, so it's very, you're not giving me or any of us any way out, which is great. Because we often want quick and easy answers. We want the shortcut, the simple way. But the title of this program series is Abundant Life.
Yes.
It's not always necessarily the shortest, quickest, easiest way to get by with the cheapest life you can get by. So in order to get an abundant life, there's some investment there, right?
Sure.
Just like, I guess, like you were saying, like you plant a seed, it takes time. You plant that seed, and then at the end, you end up with a beautiful tree with wonderful fruit on it. And maybe is it the same way with life? We have to actually take time and plant and invest in our life if we want the results of a beautiful life, an abundant life at the end.
Yeah.
Is that about right?
Absolutely. But I would say that there's just misconceptions about what is actually a healthy diet and what actually the cost of that would be.
Okay.
So, for example, in a lot of countries in Africa, people are eating between 30 to 50% of their calories from a highly refined maize product. I know here in Kenya it's called ugali, down there
Shima.
in Shima.
In Shima, okay.
Yeah, in Uganda it's called posho, and it's really all the same thing. It's a highly refined white flour made from maize. But you can actually eat the whole grain flour, which is usually cheaper, and people think of that as somehow below, like lower than, or something for poor people.
Ah, right.
But in fact, it's actually the healthiest. And so one of the things we need to do is just really help people understand the value in the original creation of God and how when we eat the whole grain, we're going to benefit from that. And generally speaking too, we'll hear a story later that when you're actually growing the food yourself, you lose so much of the value during the refined process. And you lose a lot of your actual product when you're a farmer. And so sadly, people, they make choices. And so part of what we want to educate is about how to make the choices that actually make it affordable and accessible.
Okay. So it is a lot like what you were saying, that the best food actually should be cheaper because it's really in its natural state, without any refinement, without any processing, which would add costs and all kinds of things. But in our society, we've built things up so that most of the food that we can find maybe in stores, especially if we're in the city, is going to be like that. But Farm Stew is showing us how we can get back to God's original plan.
Amen.
And bring that natural, healthier, and probably less expensive food right into our own home, whether we're in an urban setting or someplace else, and benefit from a healthier life because of that. All right, well, that's very exciting. Now, I love sticking with this theme of the show, which is really abundant living. And it takes some intentionality, we've talked about that, to actually make sure that we are having a healthier, better life. And I know people have traditional ways that they've been eating, customary ways, and they've been eating. And, they're very happy with that. And we don't feel like there's any problem. We're just enjoying the way we've been eating. What are we missing? Before we go into the details of these the particular kind of nutrition we're going to deal with today, I want to step back, perhaps maybe for some viewers who have not watched all the other programs yet. What are we missing? I mean, is this really important that we have to go into all this? What are we missing if we just say, well, forget that. I'll just keep eating the way that I've been eating.
Well, I want to touch on one word you just said, tradition, right? You
okay.
say we were traditionally, we're going to eat this way. Why should we change? And I want to step back and ask people, what did your ancestors eat? You know, your great grandparents or your grandparents. Can you think about what was their plate like when they grew up? Or maybe there's an elderly person in your family and you can go ask them. But really, maize, which I was saying is making up a huge portion of the diet now, it didn't even come to Africa until the 60s, 1960s. So we've only been dealing with maize here in this continent for about 60 years. And you think about the diseases that have come onto the continent in that same period of time. And of course, not just maize, but all the processed foods, the sodas, the colas, more access to alcohol, and even drugs. All of those things have come on in that same 60-year period. And I can tell you from conversations I've been having with many African people over these last, 10 years I've been working here, those diseases have come on at the same time that these foods have come on.
Wow.
So it may be a tradition in your household now, but it wasn't the tradition of your ancestors.
Okay.
Ancestors here were eating some of the highest quality grains in the world. And we're talking about like teff from Ethiopia. That's a superfood, the finger millet. What are some of the others? I'm just trying to think of the highest quality. Spelt and the rices even. Right now they're mostly eating white rices, but there's purple rice, red rice, black rice.
Okay.
These are some of the highest quality grains in the world that ancestors here were eating.
Wow. So there's the tradition that we think we've seen in our culture today, but then there's the foundational tradition that was really there from the very beginning, even all the way back to creation. And we've seemed to have lost our foundational, fundamental, real traditions, and we've replaced them with these kind of counterfeit traditions that are actually much less healthy.
Yeah, and that have really a profit motive at the end of the day. It's not a health motive like what God has, wanting us to have abundant life. There's generally a profit motive. And so they're trying to package the cheapest, most shelf-stable foods. So that's part of what happens in processing is they take out all of the good nutrients that can actually eventually go bad because living things can die.
I see.
A food that's still alive, that's whole grain, the fats in those grains can go rancid. But if you take it all out and you make a dead food, the dead food can't die.
So it doesn't spoil.
Yeah.
You can sell it 5 years later and it's still the way it was.
Right. But is it really going to benefit your body if it's already dead?
Okay, so the issue here then, for those of us who really actually want a better life, we want to just enjoy our life. There are a lot of people who don't want to become, let's say, they don't want to go crazy as a health maybe fanatic, and just worrying about every little thing along the way. That's not what you're talking about.
Not at all.
You're just saying, hey, listen, if you want to actually enjoy the flavor of life and really enjoy the excitement of life, well, listen, there's a few things we have to do to protect that hope of a really great life. And it's not actually living and eating like everybody else does.
Right.
We're going to have to do some things if we want to really enjoy things at a higher level.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, you were going to say?
It's better to prevent something from happening other than just leaving it to happen and then you go back. Because I personally have seen a number of people where they were taking refined food and then after getting sick, they go and then the doctor advised them to say, no, you have to go back now to whole grains. So what is better to take whole grains before you are sick or after you are sick and then you're told to go back? Okay,
so we're taught, or at least culture seems to indicate that, if you work hard and maybe you make a little bit more money, you're having a little bit more luxury in your life, then you can enjoy all of these refined things and processed things and wonderful tasting food. Then you can enjoy those things. And the world is telling us that is abundant living. And what you're saying is no. If you get to that point, you're just going to have to turn back around because you won't live very long like that, or you won't live as long or as well like that?
Actually, the results themselves, they can tell us what is abundant life. We've seen a number of people getting complication because of eating refined food. And then we are seeing that the results are not healthy. That's disease which are coming, health challenges which are coming. So if we're saying that that's good living by eating refined food, but how are the results?
Okay.
Yes. So we just have to compare the results, and then we can adopt that which is good, of which we as Farm Stew, looking at what God has instituted,
Okay.
we're advising people to say it's better to stick with the original plan of God, eating the whole grain. Yes, that will
Yeah.
give an abundant life.
So, yeah, and one of the things that's important, because a lot of people hear the words refined grains or processed grains, and they don't know what's the difference between the natural and the whole. Or the natural is the whole, and then the refined. And so Holly was starting to mention there are 3 parts of every seed. And that goes back to this Romans 1:20 verse. It's something that's kind of invisible. You don't really think about it very much. You just hold a seed in your hand,
Right.
and you don't realize there's 3 parts in every seed. So maybe Holly can go ahead and go talk through those, and then we'll add the nutritional
Sure.
aspects.
The verse that we had opened with talks about God's power and divinity being displayed by the things that God has created. So when we look at the seed itself, actually, before talking about the seed, 1 John chapter 5, verse 7, it talks about there are 3 that bear records in heaven: the Father, the Word, and the Spirit. And the Bible says these 3 are one.
You know what? I think it would be really good if we actually take a look at some seeds and can actually visualize all that stuff. And I think that's really important, because what I'm hearing, what Farm Stew is really doing, I think is revolutionary. It's very important, because when you talk about bringing biblical principles into the lifestyle of a human being, typically when we start talking about the Bible, or people hear about the Bible or faith, it's really just about right and wrong and whatever the religious teaching teaches, and you're just supposed to follow those things because God says so, right? But I'm not hearing you all say that. You're saying, listen, God has given these principles. We need to follow these things because they work. Because God knew what he was doing when he gave us this advice, and they really, really work. So you don't have to necessarily be deeply religious now to actually benefit from Farm Stew. You don't even have to be from any particular religion in order to benefit from these biblical principles, right?
Sure.
Right.
All right, now, so with that understanding, I'm really excited. I would love to see what it is maybe you can show us from these different grains and seeds and everything a little bit more about what you're talking about.
Sure.
Would you like to take a trip with me?
Sure.
Maybe we can go to the village, take a look at a few of these things, and I want to hear more about this, and you'll connect it with that first. All right, let's go.
Sounds good.
Oh, you're
All
welcome.
right.
Hi.
Hello. So our
You're
friend
most
Fiona is
welcome.
here.
Yes, nice to
right.
meet you.
Nice to meet you. All right, so Fiona, Holly was just telling us a bit about the nature of the seed, the structure of the seed. He's going to share a little bit about that. And I believe you have a story also to
Yes.
tell us about the mill or something like that.
Yes.
So Holly, maybe you can finish telling us about that.
Sure.
And then I'd love to hear this story from Fiona.
So what we're having here,
Okay.
we're having a bundle of seeds. We've got grains, and we've got legumes. So these are legumes, and this is a grain. So now, every one of these, they've got 3 parts of it. So for example, this grain that I'm getting here, it has got the outer part, which is called the seed coat.
All right.
Yes, it has got its function of protecting the inner part of the seed.
Okay.
But it's not just about protecting what is inside. The outer part, or the seed coat itself, has got vitamins. It has got fiber. It has got minerals inside.
On the outside.
Yeah.
Yes.
No,
Even
but this is the
proteins.
part that we kind of wish we could throw away sometimes.
Now
right?
you can imagine.
Because is that the part that gets caught in my teeth when I'm eating corn? That's the part.
But it is
I'm eating
beneficial
pumpkin.
for human being.
Okay.
Yes.
Can I just mention on the seed coat, because I love the seed coat. Because as Holly said, it's a very strong part. We call it the bran
Okay.
sometimes also, and it has so many minerals. and a lot of fiber also. And to me, it's the skin of the seed. So how healthy would we be if we just peeled off our own skin and
would be a
decided to walk
mess.
around, right? So when you peel off the skin, even we were talking last episode about the carrot skin and the potato skin, that's often the strongest because it's what's protecting the inner part of the seed from the soil and all the organisms in the soil. So we really need to always value the outer part of the seed.
So God knew what he was doing when he put that on around our food. He knew what he was doing.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And honestly, the dark color, I'll just say, you notice my skin is a bit of a different shade here. It's very light.
It's a little lighter, yeah.
This dark, beautiful skin here has what's called melanin. And that melanin is protecting Fiona 4 times as much. I'm 4 times more likely to get skin cancer than my friend with the dark skin.
Wow, okay.
So the dark colors, again, just like in the rainbow of vegetables, the dark color in the skin of the seed shows that it's going to have probably more nutrients. And that's something to keep in mind.
So when we're taking this off of our, we're almost telling God, listen, thank you for trying, but we know what we're doing. We can do it better. We're going to take that off because God, you should not have put that there.
Yeah.
But you're saying, no. God knew what he was doing. Leave it there
Exactly.
because it's important.
Yes.
Honor him. Yeah.
So that's the first part, the outer coat. And then after the outer coat, we've got another part which is called endosperm. So this,
Endosperm, okay.
Yes, endosperm. So this endosperm is packed with nutritious, is packed with nutrients to support the growth of the plant. And it also contains carbs and starch mainly.
Carbohydrates.
Yes, carbohydrates and starch. And then the other part, we call it a gym or embryo. So this is the part which usually germinate into 2 leaves and stem and also roots.
Okay.
So now that one is packed with good healthy fats. Yes.
Okay.
So the unfortunate part is
I
that
didn't know there was fat in these.
yeah.
Okay.
Yes. So now the sad part is that when we take to the miller, of which you come and hear the story from Sister Fiona here, the 2 parts are removed, which are very important. The outer coat, which contains vitamin, minerals, protein, and fiber, they're removed, and also the embryo, which contains healthy fat, is also removed. So we end up having with one part which is called the, what did I say first?
The endosperm?
The endosperm, thank you.
Yeah.
The endosperm, which is mainly starch. Yes. So many people are eating that. That we find in the stores.
Okay. All right.
And if I can just add one piece
Sure.
about the fats, the fats are so important for your brain health, for your skin, but yet when you expose those fats to the oxygen, that's what can make a product go bad. But it's actually very good because it's alive, it's living, it can give life, and it can die.
Okay.
So that's why when they take out the fats out of a refined grain, it's more shelf stable so they can sell it for longer. That's why processing and refining wants to take it out.
Okay.
But really when you eat the whole grain, and especially if it's milled relatively fresh, then you can actually get the benefit from those healthy fats.
So two quick things then that I think I'm taking from this. Number one, if I live in a city especially, I need to pay special attention to some of God's principles, and I may need to make that extra effort because it is hard to find things that are not processed in a city because they have to sit on the shelf for people to come buy them.
Right.
So farm stew is maybe even more important for people if you're living in an urban environment. So viewers shouldn't just say, well, I'm from the city, this is for farms, I don't need to pay attention. This is maybe even more important.
And there's
for them.
actually some small machines that can be used to grind flour fresh in your home. And I mean, if you have the money, that's a great investment because then you get all those omega-3s and all those things before the fats have gone rancid.
And the point to this, I think you're saying, is we will have stronger bodies, more energy. Our brains will work more effectively. So you need the brain to enjoy this abundant life.
Right.
So this is directly connected to the quality of life that we have.
Yeah.
It's wrapped up in the simple things that we're eating.
And the cool thing is our ancestors and the people in the villages they're pounding it fresh, often every day before the millers came to the town. So
Okay.
yeah, so maybe that's
All
a
right.
good time to hear.
All right, so let's hear this story about the miller.
Thank you so much. I have a story of the miller and the farmer.
Uh-huh.
So there is a couple.
Uh-huh.
They had a shop and a milling station. So a farmer had his grains and he wanted food. So he had to get the 10 kilograms of maize and took to the milling station. So when he reached there, the miller welcomed him so much because he was going to get money. You know what? Yes, so
So he's got business going.
that was business going on. So he gave out the grains and the man started working on the grains afterwards. Remember, it was 10 kilograms, but the miller brought out 6 kilograms. I think that was cheating because he took 10 and brought back 6.
Only 6.
Yes.
So what happened?
After that, the farmer had to give in money because he had brought something. He brought in food and he wanted to take back. So after that, the miller remained with the 4 kilograms. Remember, I talked about cheating. He remained with the 4 kilograms of the bran, which he had removed from the corn. So the farmer,
And the money.
yes, and the money.
And he got money.
So the farmer,
Bran and the germ, by the way, with all the healthy fats. And
yes,
oils.
remember we lost 2 parts of the seed. So he left it with the miller, and the miller had a shop. So the miller, the wife of the miller had chickens at home. So she was selling eggs at home. So when the miller took the bran at home, the wife was so excited because the chickens got food. So they gave the bran to the chicken, and the chicken were really happy because they had gotten food. They had to feast.
Okay.
So after that, the chicken had to put on weight. They got energy. They grew and started laying eggs. Remember, she had a shop. So it was an advantage. They cheated the farmer. So they got the eggs and started selling the eggs at the shop. So after that, the farmer's kids got sick. So they were advised to have foods with nutrients. So there were some eggs, and what they had to do was to go and buy
To the miller's wife and buy eggs
Yes,
from her.
So it was cheating. How many times I really don't know. They cheated the brand. The farmer gave in money. Again, they came and brought money and bought more. They brought eggs and took to the kids.
Wow.
Yes.
Meanwhile, the farmer actually had the best to begin with without doing anything.
Yes.
But because he didn't understand the value of all 3 parts of the grain, he paid to make it less valuable. And then, though, took the most valuable part, made something else that his children would need because the children got sick.
Yes, had
Wow.
he remained with his whole grain, he would have been healthy with the kids and no spending.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Farm Stew is really helping us to live an abundant life by being smart.
Yes.
We don't waste money and we stay healthy and strong. We really get the best out of life. That's very
Yes.
nice.
Yeah, and sadly, this phenomenon is happening all over the world. And in fact, in like the example of rice, for example, all rice when it's growing, it's brown or red or purple or black, usually brown. But when you mill it and you take it to the miller, you end up, if you start with 10 kilograms, you're going to end up with 5 often. I mean, so they're losing half the value of their work, half of their product, and the vast majority of the nutrients. So I'm wondering, if you're curious, how many nutrients are they really losing? Would you like to see that firsthand?
Let's see.
All right, so let's see, for example, we'll start with rice. Yeah, since we're talking about that.
All right.
First orders.
Now, I also want to learn about each of these different grains that we have here,
Okay.
too. So let's see that, and I want to, because these are very colorful. They all look interesting, and maybe we can learn about the different kinds of nutrients that are there.
Okay, sounds
This
good.
this looks like an interesting experiment.
Yeah, we will come back to this. Let me set this over here. Okay, so for example, rice. We were just talking about rice, and this is a cup of brown rice.
Okay.
Okay, so I bet you're curious, how many cups would we need to get the same nutrients of that are in this brown rice? How many cups of white rice do you think we would need?
Well, the white rice, I think, is, I don't know, maybe it's the same. It's just really just rice. Maybe a little bit more. Two cups of that.
What do
I'm
you
going to say
think,
2
guys?
cups of the white rice. Just guessing.
All right, let's have you guys show us how many cups of rice are we going to need? Okay, there is one.
All right. So I don't think it's going to be the same.
We're not there yet.
All right.
Yeah, from everything we've seen, we've lost the bran, we've lost the germ. So here we go. There, that's what you're thinking.
So that's twice as much. That's
Right.
kind of like the farmer and the miller, 60 and the 40. And so that's good.
Nope. We're not there yet. We've lost more nutrients even because remember
Wow.
the nutrients are packed in the germ and the bran. The endosperm is really just the seed's food to grow in those
Wow.
early stages before
Really?
it can make the photosynthesis of the plant.
That's
Wow.
3.
That's 3.
So this farmer that brought in one of these things and he gets that bag back and he has to feed his children so much more.
Well, we're not done yet.
We're not done yet.
Not yet.
No. That's 3. Here comes 4.
Let's see.
And what do you think? Can you eat that in one sitting?
I hope my children do not eat that much.
Yeah, your kids can't. Their stomachs are very small, so they cannot fill their bellies enough with this food, but we're still not done.
We're not.
We're coming to number 5.
Wow.
5.
Number 5 is what it's going to take you 5 cups
All of that.
white rice to replace the nutrients right here.
That farmer got cheated.
Exactly. And that's what we tell. We're trying to tell
That
as many
farmer.
people. As
I mean, imagine he has to make all of this rice
Yeah.
when he could have just made a little bit and his family would have been healthier and stronger. Oh, wow.
Exactly.
That's incredible.
So, and it's actually quite horrifying because, like, this is what people live on. And often it's even hard to find brown rice, even though it all starts brown or red or purple or black.
Wow. Wow.
And honestly, the darker the color, the stronger, the more nutrients it has. So,
Okay.
yeah,
So
the
we're
higher
getting
quality
back to
grain.
this rainbow of colors. We're looking for
Exactly.
colors in our food.
God loves
Okay.
colors.
right.
Exactly. So let's check out what it would be like for wheat.
Okay.
Okay.
Great.
And then we're going to talk about maize in another episode, but really same thing.
Okay.
You're eating the white refined maize compared to the whole grain maize. The whole grain is so much better for you.
Okay.
And I know that's hard to believe because in a lot of the cultures here, it's thought of as, what did we learn in Zambia? It's called what?
The refined cornmeal is
Yes.
called breakfast. And then the whole grain, the whole grain meal from the corn is called super lola meal.
Super Lola.
Lola meal.
Okay.
But here I'm told it's called the whole grain meal from the maize is called number 1.
Uh-huh.
Yes. And then I'm told the refined one, the refined meal is called the packaged one. If I go in the stores and say packaged one, yes. But the difference is the nutrients.
That's
we're
so
talking
interesting
about.
because people really feel like if they're getting the refined one, the one that is white and really refined, that they're really getting the best. That somehow people and these companies really knew what they were doing and they're really making this thing better. And I even see on the label that it's been enriched with all these different things. And you're saying, no. The one who knows the best was God. He already enriched everything. He refined it. He's already given you the best. The only thing we can do is take away from it.
Right.
Wow.
I just want to touch on the word enriched before we move on to the wheat. Enriched is kind of also, again, it's a messing with your mind, really. Because yes, they do add in some nutrients after they have taken them out.
Yeah.
So if you give me $10 and I give you 2 back, Are you enriched?
No, I'm lost.
Yeah, you've actually been impoverished, right?
So they're just giving back a little bit of what they've already taken out
Yeah, exactly.
that I already had to begin with.
So as a nutritionist, I believe in, fortified foods, enriched foods, and everything. But when you're being robbed first,
Right.
then you're not truly
So
being
you don't say
enriched.
thank you to the thief who's taken everything out of your house, but they come back to give you 1 coin.
Exactly.
You don't say thank you.
No, you don't.
Exactly. Exactly. So when it comes to the wheat flour, we already have the display here. We have the white bread, which
Okay.
is what the vast majority of people are eating. It would take 6 pieces to make up 1 piece of whole grain bread. And actually, I want to show this too. This is the bread that passes for brown bread or whole grain bread here. This is bread I brought from my country, actually, that is made from 100% whole grain. And so this is probably a mix of white and wheat. So if you can find, or maybe you could even start a bakery
Start making.
that makes it with whole grain. This also has some sunflower seeds and other seeds mixed in. So it's an incredibly nutrient
Can I
dense
feel
wheat.
that? I just wanna,
Yeah, it's heavier.
yeah. This feels real.
Yeah.
Actually, we know that I know when we're driving around on the roads in Nairobi, you see these big, heavy cars, and those are the good cars, and so it's kind of like that with bread. If you've got something that's heavy and strong, you're getting the best,
It's
the
packed
best
with
one.
nutrients.
Instead of these light cars that can just, they don't do anything. Okay, and this one is a Boda. This is a motorcycle. It's a motorcycle. This is a small car, but this is the good, nice, serious car.
I
Okay.
love that analogy. Yeah. And when you're thinking about it, and we haven't talked a lot about childhood nutrition. We'll
Okay.
come back to that in future episodes. But for children, their nutrition is so important. And yet, how many kids are going to be able to eat 6 pieces of
No,
bread?
they shouldn't. I mean, won't they be sick and they'll be overweight and everything? if
Yeah,
we try to give them
diabetes and
that much?
everything. Exactly.
Okay.
So getting the nutrients in the nutrient dense package, original package that God made it, is so critical.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Point taken. I accept. Very good. Very good. And I'll be looking for this one. I don't know where to find that bakery. Maybe one of our viewers will start the bakery that I can buy that bread from.
Okay, yeah, and let's hold up the stacks next to one another and just see, what do people want to eat? What do you think is going to be better for your health?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And it's interesting because people, when you're hungry, you want volume. You want to eat this whole stack when you're hungry. But even doing this, I imagine I'm still not getting the fiber and some things. I'm still maybe even missing some things.
Yeah.
Even from that.
And the other thing is, most of African families have got large members, a lot of members in one family. So they will end up buying one blade with a number of slices, and then they will end up sharing refined blade, only maybe 2 or 3 slices.
So it's very interesting because it seems like, you remember earlier I was saying that healthy food seems like it's more expensive.
Yeah.
But really, if I'm paying for this loaf of bread, which probably costs more than that loaf, it doesn't cost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times as much.
Good point.
So really, this is probably cheaper or maybe cost the same, and it's still giving me a better benefit.
Yes.
Well, and I tell you what's in here that's not in here, medicine. The Hippocrates said, let food be thy medicine.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
just like the rainbow, which we'll talk about now, this is medicine. And you know how expensive medicine is.
Yeah.
And also just
And
the
going to the
inconvenience
doctor
and
and all
everything.
dealing with these illnesses. So really, this is actually far cheaper then. When you
Exactly.
think about the big picture.
Exactly.
All right.
So important.
Excellent. Thank you. All right. So now let's see. So what are these different grains?
Okay.
Tell us a little bit about this particular rainbow.
Yeah. So these are legumes and grains. So the
Okay.
2 grains, I'll bring the maize down here with the grains. So this is a superfood here called quinoa. And you may not be familiar with it, but it's pretty incredible. And so we showed a cooked version of it here. So this is raw and then cooked version. Quinoa is one of those superfoods. Like we were talking about teff and amaranth and just there are some amazing ancient grains.
Okay.
And one of the reasons I think they've been like not used as much millet is the same way. It's much smaller. When you look at the size of the grain,
Okay.
maize is big, right? And I love what you just said about wanting to feel full, right? And I think there's something in every mother's psyche. And as a mother, I'll say that you want to be able to feed your kids till they feel full. And so quantity, you know,
Volume, yeah.
yeah.
Just
But
give me as
the
much.
thing is that that's not always nourishing the blood. And really what you want is you want your blood to be rich and that to be full of the energy, of the vitamins, of the minerals, of what you need. So it's not just about that feeling of a full belly, but it's really nourishing your body in what they need.
So like if I have a car, right, I can go get actual fuel for the car, but if I could find something really cheap and inexpensive and keep filling the car up 10 or 20 times to go just as far as that good tank of gas, it's probably going to be worse for the car. Ultimately, it's going to be more expensive for me. It's going to take time and it's a big headache.
Exactly.
So for our bodies, we should put the best fuel.
Exactly.
And do what we need to do, whether or not we feel full. Or
Yeah.
not. Okay.
And honestly, I think that's one of the reasons why people don't eat as much vegetables and fruit as really they should for their health. Like there's a recommendation called 5 a day of eating 5 different types of fruits or vegetables every day. And a lot of times I think people don't value it because they don't get that feeling of being really full in their belly, but it's actually nourishing their entire body.
Okay.
So, yeah. So back to so these are some of the grains, and we'll touch on some other grains in future episodes.
Okay.
But legumes, there's a difference you can see between grains and legumes when they grow. And we can show an image here. The grains are what's called monocots. So when they grow up, there's just one little shoot of a grass in
That's
a grain.
like the corn stalk.
Yeah, exactly. And then the legumes are dicots. So they have 2 sides. The seed can break into half. And when they actually are growing, the leaves go out like that. So that's how you know the difference between a grain and a legume. The legumes are so important. First, for agriculture, we've talked about how they fix nitrogen in the soil and they actually make the soil more healthy for future crops. But they also have that nitrogen come up and go into the seeds. So the legumes are actually quite high in protein.
So there's where I get the protein.
Exactly. And yeah, so all of these are very high in protein, also high in iron and other vitamins and minerals and nutrients. And another thing we really want to feature is fiber. The grains and the legumes both are very high in fiber, but beans have what's called a soluble fiber, meaning it dissolves in water. And the fiber in these is really key for preventing, oops, I put those in the wrong place. Preventing all sorts of things, including diabetes. It helps regulate your blood sugar throughout the day. It also, the fiber helps take out toxins, take out cholesterol that would help prevent heart disease.
Wow.
And so honestly, one of the best things you can possibly do every day is it's proven scientifically, if you eat beans, some type of leguminous plant, every day you get 4 additional years of life.
Wow.
Yeah.
4 years.
4 years.
Wow.
And they're actually one of the cheapest foods, really.
Yeah.
The G-nuts also, these are a type of bean. We love them. And especially Fiona makes a great G-nut paste with tomatoes and onions and garlic.
Oh,
and
sounds good.
It's so
All right,
good.
we're going to talk later.
Yeah. And yeah, so again, there's healthy fats, especially the G-nuts, soy also, which we'll do a whole nother episode on, soybeans, really healthy fats that you need, the fibers. It's just, beans are phenomenal.
Okay, so all of these have that. Is there a
Absolutely.
difference between these, or they just all are just different variations with the same kind of, strengths for us?
Yeah, there are some differences. I won't go into all the details. And
Okay.
honestly, we don't have to know because the best thing we can do is what God says to eat that which is pleasing to the eye.
So eat the rainbow.
a variety, a rainbow.
Okay.
I will say lentils in particular are very high in iron. And one thing I love about lentils, you don't have to pre-soak them. The rest of the beans are really best if you soak them overnight before you cook them. And that will release some of they're called lectins and phytic acids. They're things that actually protect the seeds so that they don't go bad, like they don't go rotten, but they're protecting the seed, but you want to use the water, soaking them overnight to sort of awaken the organisms, awaken the enzymes, and then the nutrients are more bioavailable once they're woken up by being soaked in the water. Lentils, on the other hand, you can cook them in a much shorter time, and you can also sprout them. And sprouted lentils, when you sprout a legume, it's incredibly nutritious.
Really?
You have to keep it very clean and change the water out every 12 hours or so, but you can make lentil sprouts very easily. And that's something in an urban environment, they can grow lentil sprouts, and it's like having a garden. So,
Okay.
yeah,
Very good.
that's a great
Now,
strategy.
you mentioned that these help to lower heart disease. They help deal with things like diabetes and so forth. And these are diseases that are really coming up and becoming, and they are not becoming, they are already serious problems here in Africa for the diet. And so it's just something as simple as this, which is everywhere.
Yeah.
That we even reject. But the cure is already right there.
Honestly, and I mean, I studied at Johns Hopkins University, and I studied almost 30 years ago. I graduated with my master's there for public health. And I remember they were warning us back then that there was going to be what they called an epidemiological tsunami of chronic diseases going across the continent of Africa. And sadly, that has been coming true. And it's just tragic, because the diseases that, honestly have been in my country for quite some time, the system here is not prepared for these types of diseases.
No.
And I mean, my country, we're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on healthcare on each person. It's horrible. And people are dying miserable deaths over 20 some years. I mean, it's not something you want to import from America.
This is something telling us something very important, because the reality in Africa is that there are not enough doctors per capita per person here in Africa, not enough hospitals, and we are always comparing Africa with the rest of the world in terms of how many doctors and hospitals we have. But God already knew the situation, and He gave us so much land, so many beautiful farms. With Africa, we don't need hospitals, because God has been our doctor, is our doctor, if only we will not reject His prescription, which is to just take what is there. So if we try to copy what we see in the rest of the world,
Amen.
and we try to build doctors and just have hospitals and reject what God has already put in our hand, which is these beautiful, what do we call, these are legumes, right?
Seeds.
Okay.
Seeds.
These are the seeds, okay. Then we're going to end up with the consequences that the rest of the world is suffering.
Right.
So that's what we've been seeing over these last few years. It's just we're following the directions of the wrong doctor,
Yeah.
right? There's the doctor world, and there's Dr. God.
And honestly, when I come here and I see the fast food restaurants, the KFC, the McDonald's, Pizza Hut in the cities, and even the Coca-Cola, the Pepsi, all of those, I just want to cry.
Yeah.
Because it's like the worst possible thing that we could be exporting to this beautiful continent. And then there's all the knockoff brands made by other companies.
Well,
and it's painful.
What's challenging is, of course, you're going to expect any business is going to come and sell if people are willing to go get it. And I think what's really tragic is not that they're selling whatever they're selling, but that our cultures and the way of thinking is actually telling us that no, this is what the people used to eat in Africa, but we're more sophisticated now. And now we can have better food. And so we're rejecting the blessings that God has given us. And we feel like we're still poor and unsophisticated if we're eating these things.
Right.
When really we already had the best.
And rejecting the wisdom of your own ancestors, really, and of God.
Wow. Well, I there's so many things I'd still like to discuss, but let's just say, now we're talking about Africa and, whether or not these cultural roles are the way they have to be or not, that's a different question. But can we just talk to the mothers in Africa, right? Or the wives, young women who are about to be married and so forth. And and this young lady, she wants to provide the very best for her family, right? And everyone's thinking, okay, the very best means we have to have lots of meat, lots of these processed things, the white bread, not the stuff that still has the seeds in it. What is that? Talk to her about how she should approach the care of her family.
Okay, thank you so much. As a young mother there watching, my little advice is that we should go back to the Garden of Eden. We should go back to God's instruction, because he was the first nutritionist. Before creating man, he had to give instructions on what he should eat. So he packed this seed and put in the gift, the precious gift in the seed. So your family is what they eat. Your children are what they eat. So we should really go back to Eden, and we have life abundantly.
Okay.
Yes.
Amen.
I love you said life abundantly. That's really the key, right? Because every mother has children, right? And all of these children, we can decide whether or not our children are going to be average. Our children are just going to be normal. Our children are just going to be okay. But, I don't know, fathers and mothers, we want our children to have the best life. We want them to excel and go far, right? So if we want our children to be strong and go far, we have to do something different for them.
Yes.
So maybe that's okay for everyone else's family. Maybe that's okay for the in-laws. Maybe if it's a young lady, his mother may have done things a certain way. But if we want the grandchildren now, for the mother-in-law to be exceptional, we're going to do something special for them.
Exactly.
And by the way, I raised my two girls in a plant-based way. And we had beans almost every day. And I tell you, my girls, you've noticed I'm a little bit tall. My girls are both taller than me.
Wow.
I'm the shortest one in the family at this point. So I can tell you, children can thrive.
So now a lot of young boys just take part of the wait. I want to be tall, so if you want to be tall, eat your beans.
Yeah, honestly.
Okay.
And they're so healthy. I mean, yeah, we'll be talking later about breastfeeding. Also, that's the best thing for the young mothers. I just want to say, breast is best. That is God's way. And we'll talk more about it soon. But oh my goodness, the lies that we've been sold, it's really sad, because God's way is always the best.
So then just to wrap up, then we're really again contrasting now between what the culture has told us, what traditions have told us, and whether or not we're going to believe the traditional way that at best will get us to normal, at best. But then when we look around the world with all the problems, do we really want that as our normal? No, we want better. We want abundant living. And thank God, literally, that we have another choice. We can accept normal, or we can go to the originator, to the creator, the original farmer, the original chef, the original father and mother of us all, the creator of all of us. And he has the best prescription for us so that we can live abundantly and not get cheated like the farmer by the miller. All right. That's great. Well, listen, I want to just really thank all of you for bringing this new rainbow to my attention and to the attention of all of our viewers. Something so simple can change our lives so much. That's just so fantastic. So, well, anyway, our time is up. I want to thank all of our viewers for being with us here this time for abundant living, powered by Farm Stew. We've learned so much about the essence of the seed, the three different parts of the seed. It's kind of like the Trinity that makes up God. I mean, you're really actually even worshiping God a little bit by trusting Him and His design. And it's even built into the design of every seed. So I hope all of us got as much as I got out of this. And I can't wait to see what's in the next programs for us. So come back and enjoy the next program. We've planted some seeds for all that we're going to learn in the next episode. So come back with us next time and we'll learn more. Until then, just trust God and enjoy.